Nocturne is the seventh full-length album from Hexvessel, a band that is difficult to define in terms of subgenre because it changes year over year and depending on the project. The last two releases from the band have been distinctly related and have focused on black metal influenced atmospheric metal, which is also centered around their traditional use of folk voicing and song construction to inform their work. Heavily influenced by the atmosphere of early 90s black metal. The Polar Veil from 2023 was just a fantastic record. I reviewed it with high praise. It was on the very high on my top 75 albums of the year back then, and I was a huge fan of it. Well, a lot of people were. Essentially, the Roadburn Festival in 2024 commissioned a performance from McNerney, and he expanded upon Nocturne in a pretty impressive way with a huge live performance, which is available as on part of the double CD available with this. If you get the deluxe version, you get the live performance of this. This is the album performance, and if you remember Waste of Space Orchestra's performance at Roadburn, it eventually led to a recording in studio that was pretty faithful to the performance. This is the same kind of thing. They've recreated it while enhancing it with this in the studio. What that means is we get the black metal side of Hexvessel, but also their own unique work around of it, which focuses primarily on a lot of clean vocals and a lucid sound. I couldn't describe it as anything other than lucid, an album that sets you right at the cusp of midnight. We'll get that sense of being entranced by the moonlight here in a clip from one of the songs, and then I'll talk a little bit more about why I like this album so much and why I think this era of Hexvessel is one of my favorites. So as a jumping off point, we could at least point to early Ulver, some of the better riffs from Burzum, and some of the more atmospheric second album movements from Darkthrone as kind of a basis for what they bring in terms of black metal on this record. It's not really a black metal record in any traditional sense. This is still very much a folk metal band at heart, and the metal part of it we could argue on a little bit. But this album is certainly heavier, more atmospheric, and it uses black metal guitar as a way of creating atmosphere, as a way of giving the performance a sort of bristling, cold aspect. I think they do really well to carry that night side atmosphere from Norwegian black metal and take that Scandinavian feeling and then use McNerney's unique voice and his sense of melody to develop a very unique song. Every one of these just kind of, per his style, gets its own fixation and it gets its own feeling, and they're very long pieces, so you really do have to sit down and focus on what they're doing here to get their drift. And I think drift is a good way to describe it. It does feel like you're kind of trotting through the snow as you might have on the previous record. It continues that style with intention. It really doesn't want to move beyond it so much as further explore the woods with the band. And I think they take that to a certain degree, and then their tendencies show up in terms of McNerney's love for the progressive side of black metal out of like Bergen and Norway in general, and that starts to show up later on in pretty interesting ways. Essentially, the review is, if you liked Polar Veil, this is a bigger, even more grand version of it that focuses even more on the black metal side, but also the melodic side. It's a long performance. It's an extended album. And again, it does feel like a performance. This was intended and created to be a performance and not just a record. And so it really is best taken in all at once. If you have the time and the attention, you particularly like this artist, this is one of their finest records. It is probably one of my highest ratings of their work, more or less averages on par with the previous. This is just a really impressive band. This wasn't an evolution that I really saw coming. It is a place that they could stay forever, and I'd be really happy with that. But it's got a lot of things that I like about their sound, but also that touch of black metal that gives it something interesting and captivating overall. So check it out for yourself. I think this is easily one of the best records of June. Check it out for yourself. It released on June 13th, and go ahead and read my review for more of my thoughts in depth.